Hey everybody, this is James with wstrades.com. I want to provide an update here on NIO, some recent news stories here. There is one about recent whale trades on NIO. Says someone with a lot of money to spend has taken a bearish stance on NIO, and retail traders should know. We noticed this when the big position showed up on publicly available options history that we track here at bngo. Whether this is an institution or just a wealthy individual, we don't know, but when something this big happens with NIO, it often means somebody knows something is about to happen. So how do we know what this whale just did? The option scanner spotted 11 uncommon options trades for NIO. This isn't normal. The overall sentiment of these big money trades is split between 18% bullish and 81% bearish. Out of all the special options we uncovered, 5 are puts for a total amount of 154,556, and 6 are calls for a total amount of 396,335. It says here, taking into account the volume and open interest on these contracts, it appears that the whales have been targeting a price range from $10 to $31 for NIO over the last 3 months. Looking at the volume and open interest is an insightful way to conduct due diligence on a stock. This data can help you track the liquidity and interest for NIO's options for a given strike price. Below, we can observe the evolution of the volume and open interest of calls and puts respectively for all of NIO's whale activity within a strike price range from $10 to $31 in the last 30 days. So it looks like some recent options trades there are showing a bearish sentiment. Let's take a look here at some of the price action here on NIO. And I've still got this downtrend line up here on the daily chart. I've had this line drawn out here since July. So you can see it made this crazy run up to almost 65, big pullback, rallied up, and then once it started to die there, that's when I threw this trend line up here. And you can see here in November, several candles up, rejecting that again, and it has made a massive move from this level. I mean, it was still trading around $43 in November when it rejected this trend line again, and now this thing, you can see a low of $19.31, currently trading at $20.90. But yeah, definitely still respecting this downtrend line here, nowhere near it. And you can also see here on November 30th, that it dropped below the 21-day exponential moving average on this chart, and it really hasn't been able to get above it since. You can see a little bit of a rally here, tried to bust above it, but quickly we had a bearish engulf candle to drop it right back below the 21. Here it made another attempt, again a bearish engulf candle, and a massive move away. So the RSI right now is pretty ridiculous on the daily chart. You can see right now that it is around 24, 25. It has not been this low over the past year. You can see a dip down here to about 26. There was a dip here back in March when we had a pretty nasty sell-off in March of 2021, still around 26 there. So this is the lowest point on the RSI for NIO within the past year. So yeah, I'm not really going to be expecting this to turn around or, have any kind of a positive outlook on NIO until it can at least get up here and bust through this 21-day EMA, because this is the first dynamic resistance point we have here is this 21-day EMA since late November, several months ago. It has not been able to get above that, so that would be a first sign for me. And then overall, this longer term downtrend line is going to be really key too. After this thing gets above this 21, closes above it, I would be looking at that level there. Let's head out to the weekly time frame here to kind of see where this thing might level out. So on this time frame, you do see some resistance right here around this $20 level. As we talked on the daily time frame there was a low in the 19s, but the buyers stepped back in, bought that up, and were able to close this thing above this $20 level. So I do think this level is key, because if it doesn't hold around this 20 level, the thing could be coming down to test around this $10 level. You can see here, we had that as resistance at one point. Things sold off, went sideways, and then right here blasted through and went on this insane run to about 67. So yeah, definitely on the weekly time frame, $20 level is key here. If this thing sells below this $20 level and closes below it, that's definitely going to be a short entry signal for me. You know, I would take a short position on this stock because I think it will have significant drawdown if it can't hold 20. Now, if this thing bounces off this $20 level, you know, the bulls come back, let's just say this next week here, we get a nice green candle and it moves up. You know, I would see that as a sign that this thing is going to bounce. I mean, looking at the weekly chart here, the RSI is right at that oversold level. So to me, it definitely seems like there's been enough selling recently since this crazy peak here to about $67 when the RSI was up in these insane ranges. You had an RSI here around 93, 92. That's pretty nuts. So there's a lot of craziness going on here as this thing made this insane run. But since that point, you know, it's just been a downtrend on the daily and the weekly charts, and it's really just been bleeding, bleeding, bleeding. So at this point, you know, it is at that oversold level, and I definitely expect this thing to bounce, even if it's just for some profit taking, because you can see here that is a massive move down from about $43 to $20. So it definitely seems like it's time to rally up here a little bit and head back towards this 21 and then kind of see what happens there. You can see here on the 3-year weekly chart that there have been times where the RSI is lower than it is now. You can see a dip all the way down to 26, and here again dipping all the way down to around 26 on the RSI. So we have seen lower RSI levels for NIO, but we're very close here on the weekly to the lowest point we've seen on the RSI. So definitely beat down for a long time. You can see here on the TTM squeeze that this thing was squeezing for a while here. You have 5 bars here where we were squeezing, and then it fired to the downside. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bars firing to the downside. So we might have a couple more here of these bars to the downside, and then I would expect, you know, this thing to start to tick up and these bars to turn yellow and, you know, have this price start to head back towards that 21-day EMA. So that's what I'm looking at right now on NIO. Is this $20 level going to hold? If so, if the buyers get back into it, it starts to rally. What's going to happen when it comes up and retests this 21-day EMA here on the weekly time frame and also on the daily time frame? So I'll continue to keep you guys updated on NIO. Please like this video. Please also subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. Hit that notification bell. Appreciate you guys for taking the time to watch this. Talk to you soon.